Hey guys, Tyler Tamerlane here with another Obscurity in Miniature, and today it looks like I got a box that was inside another box, which was in one other big box from France, and we have in here some Raging Heroes goodies. This is Incarnation Fantasy, and I don't know why I'm saying it with a bad Spanish accent, because they wouldn't say it like that. Alright, so I am greeted to cheesy popcorn packing peanuts. No, they don't smell like cheese. Despite being from France. Got a cool little bookmark. Should go well with all the coasters I've got from them over the years. And underneath this, what's inside? Okay. So, since you spent more money than you probably should have, you get our free new exclusive mini, a Sister of Eternal Mercy Heavy Weapon Specialist, who won't be available in our shop for at least several more weeks. Yeah! That's kind of cool. I thought she was a Kickstarter model. Maybe I'm wrong. That's kind of nice. It looks like her weapon. I don't know what's up with her weapon there. Is that two parts? It might be two parts. I'm not sure. We'll do another video on her later. This is basically just an unboxing. What's in the box? That's what I'm looking for. Here is the new Serpent Lady Sorcerer. No, not Sorceress. Demon Girl. So let's take a look at this. I haven't built any rather large Raging Heroes models. So this is the big snake incarnation. You can see the head right there. Gonna need a little bit of cleanup, a little bit more softer resin than I'm used to from them, but that shouldn't be much of an issue. Oh, the detail still seems to be there. Hopefully you can catch that. Very ornate armor. Very ornate horns and stuff that are going to be in need of cleaning, and that's okay. That's to be expected when you work with resin. Now this is going to require a little bit of work because the whole piece is warping and bending, and that's not so much a problem with the claws, but the swords, that might be an issue. So this model naturally has a bunch of arms, because we like multi-armed models in this household. Then you can see the actual lower snake half. This is one of the claws that has the flag-like banner hanging off it. I think that's all the parts for her. I'm assuming that's her base. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. And then there is the fantasy version. Now, I opted to get... They had a sci-fi option, I believe, for both the small version and the big, giant, evil goddess version. But I had to go with the fantasy versions, especially with the small one. You guys know I like a lot of blades and a lot of arms. So, very tiny contact point on the neck. Hopefully that's not an issue. And I'm dropping the head. Casting quality seems pretty nice for the most part. Obviously, we're going to need to clean all that up. That should not be an issue. I would like to see the head at a little bit closer look. Not bad. Again, need some cleanup, but it's not a big deal. I will be back in a moment after I grab some clippers. And is there anything else in here hidden away? It doesn't look like it. A base. We'll get these girls all built up. All right, we've got all of the giant incarnation of Taiphan all cut out, cleaned up for the most part, and ready to go. And I gotta say, my initial reaction was a bit underwhelming. I was expecting a bigger model. Maybe I'm spoiled on Creature, Caster, and Darklands when it comes to big, expensive resin models. But now that I actually have all the pieces in front of me, I'm actually kind of pleasantly surprised, especially after cleaning them. The detail is really top-notch, especially, well, like I said, most of it has been cleaned. We'll fix that up a little bit later. Now, one thing I really liked about this model, especially compared to some of their earlier releases, at least when it comes to the smaller stuff, I haven't built many of their bigger models like this. The keys and the keyholes, where to put the pieces, are a lot more obvious. And that's really going to drive me nuts now that I did not get that picked out. I could just use a knife, but why would I do that? Anyway, So you can see there are nice, big, obvious spaces. See these big rectangular plugs there? That's where we're going to fit the banner pieces on. Or at least I thought we were fitting the banner pieces on. Duh, no, it's these. There we go. So those are going to fit like so. And then we're going to see, and then there's another little keyed up location right there that my thumb is blocking that is going to have the actual banner part then attached to. Like so. So we have lots of big spiky blades going in every direction. And even then we have very nice, obvious, deep, recessed, clear casted spots to have the parts attached. That's a big deal. The snake tail. Again, big, nicely keyed spots for the parts to go in. And you gotta love these little, self-inflicted barbs all stuck into the skin there. Always a nice touch when it comes to giant pleasure demons. Can I figure out how to put it together? No, why would I be able to do that, right? Aha, what's this? We're getting somewhere. No, we're not. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, that's the ground. So I'm assuming then that the torso is going to sit like so. Let's get our Inquisitor friend in the picture here. So our Inquisitor friend, that's where the ground touches. That's about how big our model is going to end up being. So pretty nice size there, yeah? One thing I want to point out, though, that my biggest dismay so far is the smaller spots to attach both the arms and the head. The head seems to be the one that's going to have the biggest issue. On the back of the head, you can see we have a very small notch, and then we have the spot for the hair to go. And the parts don't want to line up as well as they should. They do line up sort of, kind of. But you know what? It might just be that I don't have any glue on there yet. It's also trying to figure out what these weird pieces are right here. These coiled serpent blade things actually go on the sides of what I'm assuming is a belt piece there. So, despite my worries with the arms, there is a nice little cross hatch hook thing there to get them to attach. And it looks like they actually kind of line up with both the arm and the shoulder pad, which is a nice little touch. Like so. So I'm going to get the glue going, and let's see what our Taiphan ends up looking like, shall we? And then we'll get to the fantasy one. Well, they're both fantasy. What am I talking about? The small one. We'll do the small one next after we build the big one. Okay. All right, so we got our Taiphan model just about finished here, and you'll notice that she's missing her head. Well, there's a reason for that, and I'm going to explain it shortly, but it was just a little bit of a miscast. So her head itself looks great and fine and dandy and all, and there's just a little bit of a gap between where her hair attaches to the head. The problem actually is her neck. My cast just seems to have had a little bit of mold slippage underneath there, and you can see there's a small, very slight indentation of where the spot is supposed to go, but she has no actual neck. Now, I'm hoping mine is an outlier, obviously, but it's not really a big deal. I mean, honestly, it's just a little bit of green stuff in there, and, it'll be good to go. So here's the actual finished model herself. It hasn't been glued to that base, so I need to be a little bit more careful, but I gotta say the pieces all went together really smooth. I mean, really smooth. I had no issues at all getting this thing built. Now, making sure it actually gets painted is going to be an entirely different story. Just the head and neck issue specifically. You can see it's got a real nice, cleanly cast part there where it's supposed to attach. It just didn't work out. I mean, it will, and given a little bit of green stuff jammed in there, wheelie in business, but you can get a good look here. So I'm pretty happy with it. I was expecting her to be a little bit bigger, and despite them warning, not really warning, but stating that she's going to be on a 40 millimeter base, I was like, well, I don't know about the price. To me, reflects a model that's going to be a little bit larger, but on the other hand, it actually is really nice. I mean, it's really cleanly cast outside of my issue with her neck. And hopefully, again, like I said, that's more of an outlier, I'm hoping, rather than a, across the range issue. So here she is on her 40 millimeter base. I think it fit a little bit better. You can see there's a little bit of spillage over the sides. A 50 millimeter base, well, thankfully her head's not on because that would have been an issue. But a 50 millimeter base seems to be a little bit better for her. I grabbed a couple of other snake style models I had, mainly of this size, an older Mirs Phidios, I believe his name was. But yeah, you can see a nice big four-armed snake man here. So they're actually pretty comparable in size. I grabbed another of the Chthon snake man, and honestly, she fits in really well. So any of you Darklands players out there, if you're interested in a new snake model, this might be something worth looking into. I think she's a little bit small if you're interested in some sort of proxy, what's her name, the snake goddess for the Daughters of Cain. Their big showpiece model, she's a lot smaller, I think. I think that thing's much, much bigger, but, could be a cool Melusa or whatever the Medusa girls are for the Daughters of Cain. Would make a pretty cool, demon prince for any kind of ecstasy, lust demon, or elves, or what have you. So, something to keep in mind. I'm thinking that her bladed spine things right here probably need to be adjusted. So I'm going to probably just grab the hairdryer and spot heat those and get them a little bit more open. I feel like that's kind of jammed in there. Plus, it's kind of getting in the way of me fiddling with the head, and we are going to need to be able to get in there to get some green stuff to attach to the body. But overall, besides that little hiccup, and again, I don't want to put all of the blame squarely that this is going to be a, model-wide problem. I'm hoping it's just an isolated incident. And again, a kit like this probably isn't the best choice for an inexperienced modeler anyway, or if you're unfamiliar with working with resin. Overall, for the most part, no issues there. So again, hopefully my head is an isolated incident. And I'm kind of surprised she actually stands up okay. I didn't really clean up the bottom of her snake tail too much. And that kind of also, we should take a look at. I like the depth to it. I like it's very wiggly. And it's got a lot of motion going on there, which is always a nice touch. Get a good look there. And again, really well cast for the most part. So that is Taiphan and her snake avatar destruction, whatever you want to call it. And then there is, the human mode. The human mode is actually what I am more interested in, and that is what we are going to be building next. So I have the head here. It did pop off, and thankfully this version does actually have a complete and solid neck. So thankfully that won't be a problem. And you can pretty much guarantee that's the first piece I'm going to glue on there. So let me grab the glue. I already gave this a nice wash. We'll clean her off and get her all built and see how both pieces compare to each other. And then we'll just check out the cool human size model, yeah? So here we have our human size Taiphan. And funny enough, our model went together almost 99% the same. Well, I shouldn't say 99, 90% the same. The only big difference was obviously the lower half of the body. Everything else pretty much was the exact same setup. Now, obviously, it was scaled down, and we had a lot more difficulty trying to get those arms in there, and the head was still a bit of a pain, but that was my own fault, I think, because I put all the little embellishments on her back prior to gluing her head on. So you can see she fits on a 25mm base. She's a little bit bigger than a typical GW human. I had some old blood vestals. No, these aren't old, but these are Kickstarter blood vestals from Raging Heroes. And just to give you a good size, so Taipan's human form there is still a little bit larger, but it's not extravagantly huge compared to her snake-like demon form. Of course, her demon form is supposed to be on the 40mm base. And you'd see her head if I'd bother to attach it yet, but I'm going to mess with that closer to actually getting them glued, because like we said earlier, you know, I had some issues with the neck of the model there, and we'll get that all straightened out. So overall, the models were a set, so they actually were included together in a bundle, and you can see our other snake friend there and a random witch hunter from RTLW. You're in the way. Actually, you're not. Good little comparison. But getting to the main two models. So, as I was trying to say before I started rambling and getting off task, a little bit on the pricey side for both models, but I felt that was kind of counterbalanced by Raging Heroes' pretty good sense of sale prices and incentives to pick up models. They do bundle a lot. Oh, I actually found a painted Raging Heroes model, just to give you a good sense of scale. And I get the big snake one out of the way because she's kind of tall and my hand hurts. So, okay, where was I going with that? Yeah, so a little bit pricey, but with Raging Heroes, pretty good sales policy. They're pretty good about bundling stuff up, throwing in coupons on top of that, throwing in, you know, reasonable shipping and all kinds of little deals. Not bad for what I paid. And again, they had their special model that was included if you spent over 99 euros. They were like about 50 or 60 or maybe a little bit more together. And they are resin models. They are really nice quality resin models. I can't complain too much, I guess. Considering the average resin model, though, it runs about 10 to 14 euros. Considering a lot of that stuff does come out of Europe. Well, you got to keep that in mind. Considering a unit of 5 from Raging Heroes is about 20 to 30 euros. You know, you got to keep that in mind. Are you looking for a pricey character model that's going to be a lot of fun to paint and perhaps show off if you actually have better painting skills than I do? Something to keep in mind. If you just want a cool model, I really don't think you can go wrong. And I do appreciate the fact that Raging Heroes offered both versions as separate choices. So if you only wanted one, you could purchase one. Another thing to also keep in mind is they offer sci-fi and fantasy versions of these girls. I believe this had like a, you know, energy sword and machine guns or something. But I figure if they're going to be used as any kind of a demon stand-in, swords are good enough. They can shoot magic energy or something out of them. So, Taipan, the Incarnation of Taipan from Raging Heroes. Check them out. They do make a lot of cool models. And thankfully, they've been making a lot of neat models post-Kickstarter. And it's nice to see them really starting to branch out again. So, kudos to them. Kudos to you for sitting through all of this video. And thank you once again for watching. I am super tired and words are not coming out of my mouth correctly. So I am going to bid you all a fond good night. And I'll see you later. This is High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures saying bye-bye.